What's all this about? 1 point. It's rubbish. Oh, jeez! Get me off! Get me! No!
Hopefully, some of you are wondering what on earth is going on. What have I just seen? But bear with me, all will be explained. First, let me say hello. It is lovely to have you here with us at Catalyst. My name is Katie. I am one of the youth workers here at Youth for Christ, and it's great to have you with us. Video. I thought it was basically the perfect example of what life sometimes is like. You know, some days are better than others, and some seasons we feel stronger and better prepared, and then some days, just terrible. COVID-19 has changed a lot of things. I think it would be naive to not acknowledge how different our life has been over this past month. I mean, I'm doing this currently. To demonstrate this, I got Chris pranked. And I think it is the best way to describe what the coronavirus has been kind of like for us. Thank you, Redcliffe family, for doing this.
Smile to everyone at Catalyst!
Thanks.
You see, Chris was just doing life. He was just chilling. He was just, you know, carrying on. Until Emily took his glasses off. And then he was a bit like, what is going on? And then Zeke hit him. He did not have a clue. He did not see it coming. And it is amazing to see the shocked reaction on his face as he tries to process what is going on. Thank you, Redcliffe family, again. But I think, you know, life has been a bit like that. You know, those two videos, they're all chilling and life's different. Since the last Catalyst, lots has changed. We haven't been able to see friends or extended family. School's been closed. We haven't seen each other. And life is totally different to what we've been used to. But I didn't want to talk to you about, you know, the act of being pied. But how do we recover? And how do we let this have an impact that is positive and changes so positively that actually we are stronger and that we know where our feet are placed? To do that, I'm going to have a look at this guy called Joseph. You might know him from the musical. He's the odd one with the multicoloured coat, lots of dreams, really sketchy brothers, and an amazing success story. It's found at the end of Genesis if you'd like to look into it further. And he basically has several pie scenarios. So Joseph's pie scenarios are a little different to ours. I mean, his brothers basically pay people to take him away across the desert to go into exile in Egypt as a slave. But it's important to define what exile means, because I suppose, in a way, we are in a bit of a state of exile. We are currently being barred, for safety reasons, from our natural or native circumstances. Being stripped of all that we know is actually quite unsettling. For me, it makes me feel as if I've got like 100 snakes in my tummy and like my head is buzzing. I'm not sure where I've landed. I really don't know who I can trust, rely on, or even turn to. And I assume that that is how most of us have felt at points during this last month. So looking at Joseph's story, he's shipped off to Egypt, gets to work as a slave, then becomes successful, but then goes to be put in jail. And then he translates some dreams, becomes prime minister, and then has to face his family. I kind of expect to find the story with little bits, if not lots of it, of him like crying continuously on his bed or being super fed up, super like, what is life? Angry, yelling, really questioning everything. Maybe that's just me, but emotions are a strange thing. I saw even a couple of days ago that someone had said they were bored of being bored. Raise your hands if that might be something that you're experiencing. Yep. But the Bible doesn't go into things like that. But it does talk about the facts. It says Joseph was taken to Egypt, and then he was working for a guy called Potiphar who trusted Joseph with everything. And it says in Genesis 32 the reason why. In verse 2, Genesis 39, verse 2, it says, "The Lord was with Joseph so that he prospered." So all the bad stuff that happened to Joseph, he was working as a slave in a different country, yet because the Lord was with Joseph, he prospered. And then Potiphar's wife got in the way, so, it was a bit sketchy, like literally wanted his pants off him. So then he was thrown into jail. But again, it says while he's in jail, Genesis 39, verse 20 to 21, "But while Joseph was there in the prison, the Lord was with him. He showed him kindness and granted him favour in the eyes of the warden." All of these things happened to him. The waves of life continued to hit him. They pulled him down and stripped all of his material and physical freedoms. And yet the Lord was still with Joseph through the highs and through the lows, from being a well-respected servant to being in jail for a wrongly accused thing. God was with him. You see, Joseph had God as his foundation. And I think that's why we don't often read about how Joseph was freaked out and sat and cried. We hear about the incredible story of what's happened and his success because he put his trust in God. God for Joseph and the Israelites and Christians today is the great I am, the God who made heaven and earth, who made the impossible possible, who fought death and beat it and conquered everything just to be with us. So in Joseph's highs and lows, he knew that the miracle-making God was fighting with him, by his side, in his corner. Now imagine, every time you're about to go into a fight, which hopefully isn't often, every time you have the greatest wrestler, greatest fighter in the ring with you. You don't need to fight on your own. You can just pull him in whenever you need. And you know that you're going to win every time. I think that's what Joseph felt. He had God, the one who had done crazy things for him and through him. So that's why every time he had a pie in the face moment, he wasn't fazed. He stood firm, knowing his fighter, God, was coming up to sort the mess out. Now, I need to make it clear. Prospering or having God on your side is not meant in terms of money or success or really material things of this world. It actually says clearly in the Bible, when we follow God, it will be a hard path to follow, and actually we'll have hardships and tough situations, but with God the impossible happens and amazing things, like crazy success stories like Joseph's, happen, and I for one want to be part of that. So my question today is, when you face up to the trials of life, maybe even right now, Who are you calling out from your corner? Like, who are you asking to be with you in the fight? Maybe it's you and you alone. You know, you don't have to rely on anyone. It's all about you doing your thing. But with that comes a lot of stress, anxiety, and pressure. Maybe it's other friends, family, youth workers, school, teachers, other people. But, you know, it's good because they're physical and you can actually reach out to them. But they often let you down and they might not be who you think they are. And finally, I think we've got the option of God. You know, the one who beat death, who does miracles, moves mountains, and makes the impossible happen. So is he in your corner? I know I'm going to want the strongest person in my corner because then the pressure's off me. And this is part of my story. When I was 19, I went to Japan on a mission trip, assuming that I was being an all good, holy person doing an amazing thing. And it wasn't until I was on that flight that I realised I really didn't know God. I said I did, but I didn't. It wasn't really true. I was in an unhealthy relationship. I relied heavily on my friends and what they thought of me and trusted completely in my family. But being alone on a flight for 16 hours with no service, no Wi-Fi, no one to talk to, and nothing really to do, it made me realise that everyone else isn't going to be there, but God is the only one who's going to be there for me always, who will not let me down. And that doesn't mean to say that you won't feel life's punches, that they won't hurt you, that actually life won't be tough. But I mean, you're always going to be on the winning side if you've got God. Perhaps now you're thinking, yeah, but Katie, like, he isn't even there. Like, how do you know that he's even real? Like, I haven't seen this really pay off. I challenge you to look into it more. There are alpha courses about God online at the moment. Contact us with, you know, big life questions or little life questions. We might even do a big Q&A at some point. Or maybe you just need someone to talk these things through. Like, we're around. We'd love to chat this through with you. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just need to know that that is an option, that God is there in your corner if you choose to call him out. And trust me, if that's a choice that you want to make, it is the best decision of your life. And sometimes we have to remake it and keep going again. And every time, make that choice to choose him. Maybe you already believe, maybe you're already fighting that fight, you've got him in your corner, and you're a bit like, so what? I challenge you to look at how you reacted to COVID-19. We're all weak and sinful people in need of Jesus. So where do you need to let him come and fight in your corner? Where does he need to come in and be your foundation? Because with God, you've always got someone to turn to. You're never alone. You've got his wisdom. It's in the Bible. We just have to open it. And if you believe in Jesus and have called him your Lord, you have this miraculous spirit living inside of you. You just need to realise it, say that you're sorry, choose to follow him and listen to the Spirit. This time, as we are in lockdown, could be an opportunity to readjust where our foundations are, to take the time to turn to seek him out and to trust that he is with you, because he is. That is a fact. It says so in the Bible. And if you believe it, it will change your life.